The python only needs one good grip to start wrapping. Seconds later, the first coil closes. For most prey, this is where escape becomes almost impossible. But the python has wrapped itself around an animal that can fight from inside the trap.
How did they get here?
30 minutes earlier, the honey badger is simply looking for breakfast. Audio, sparse suspense strings play. ASMR, Drivana wind rustles. It investigates almost anything that smells edible. And reptiles aren't always enemies. Sometimes they're food. The trail leads toward heavier cover. But another hunter is already waiting there. African rock pythons don't need venom. Their weapon is the entire body. A strategic hidden position offers the snake an advantage far beyond mere swiftness. Position. The badger is almost within a range for an intense confrontation. In less than 40 seconds, one animal will make the decision that starts the fight. The badger finally notices movement. The python knows its cover is disappearing. Either animal could still leave. The badger has claws and mobility. The python has reach, mass, and one devastating advantage, the coil. The honey badger moves closer. The snake draws back.
One more step.
And the python commits. The narrator's speech is accompanied by the crisp, exploding sound of dry grass being displaced. The first attack misses.
But now the badger knows exactly where the head is.
It tests the angle. The second strike almost catches the face. That changes the badger's approach. It starts using the log as cover. For several seconds, the badger looks safer. But the log hides something from the badger too, the rest of the snake. The python changes position. The badger realizes too late. The strike connects. The python has the grip it wanted. But in less than a minute, that grip will create a new problem. The snake starts wrapping. The nature of their encounter has completely transformed.
badger is no longer fighting the head.
Can an animal this compact be constricted the same way as more typical python prey?
The pressure is real.
But the badger's body is not completely locked. The skin moves around the animal underneath. And that means the python may be holding the outside more securely than the animal inside.
The badger reaches the snake.
The first claw strike forces movement.
Not enough to break free.
The python is stronger around the badger. The badger is more dangerous inside the python's reach. The snake adds another loop. Accompanying this speech are heavy, low-frequency impacts that temporarily pins one front leg. For the first time, the badger's movement slows. This is the closest the python comes to complete control.
Then the badger stops wasting energy, pulling straight outward. It starts twisting instead. A few centimeters appear. Can a few centimeters become enough room to turn the entire fight? The paw comes free. Now both front claws are available.
The badger turns its head toward the snake's body. The python's strongest position is about to expose its biggest weakness.
To constrict, the snake must stay close. Very close.
The badger bites.
And suddenly, tightening the coil has a cost.
The badger drives a shoulder into the gap.
The snake tries to close it. But the badger now has leverage.
Then the python's head comes back into the fight. The badger has gained space, but now the jaws are closer. The python strikes at point-blank range.
The badger turns with the bite. The same loose skin that looked trapped is now giving the badger room to rotate. One coil slips toward the hips. The chest has more room.
The python is still wrapped, but no longer where it wants to be. The next 40 seconds decide whether the badger escapes or gets wrapped all over again. The python tries to rebuild the trap. The badger attacks the moving loop. The snake changes direction. A second wrap nearly reaches the neck. It misses the position by inches. And the badger surges forward. Missing Parchim Rapicher. The final tight loop begins to slide. A low, guttural growl and desperate grunts from the honey badger. For the first time since the ambush, the badger is pulling the python instead of the python controlling the badger. The snake releases the last loop. The badger is free. But freedom does not mean the danger is over. The python failed to hold it. Will the badger finally leave? No. The encounter has changed from escape to counterattack. The python's body is powerful only if the head can establish another grip. At distance, the python has reach. At close range, the badger has 4 limbs, claws, and teeth. The badger feints left. Then reverses.
The python strikes. Oh. Sounds of dry brush crackling and displaced earth, followed by a sudden violent hiss.
That miss creates the opening the badger has been waiting for.
The badger closes fast.
The python turns. But the badger is already beside it. For the first time, the python is defending instead of restraining. The snake pulls its head away. The badger follows 2 steps. The python turns one last time. Will the badger risk another strike, or has it already proved the point? The badger moves sideways instead of forward. The python sees the opening. And takes it.
The python's mistake wasn't being weak. It was committing its entire weapon to prey that could still fight inside it.
The coils had enormous power. But they also kept the snake's body within reach. And the honey badger's real advantage wasn't fearlessness. It was staying dangerous even while restrained. Neither predator needed another round. In nature, the wrong prey isn't always the animal you can't catch. Sometimes it's the animal you can't safely hold.